Before any makeup goes on to the skin, we must prep the skin very, very well. And that includes cleansing the skin and applying a very good moisturizer. What I've used is a micellar water from Uriage, or you can use any micellar water of your choice. And then I have combined the Embryolisse Latte Creme Concentrate with the Hydro Base Under Makeup Cream from PS Cosmetics. I'm applying this and massaging it into the skin very, very well before moving on to any makeup application. This step is a must and it's super, super important if you want a long-lasting makeup. Also, a makeup that doesn't crack and that does not crease onto the face, because the skin is going to be super well moisturized and very well prepped to receive any color cosmetics that follow. So what I've used for the foundation is the 24-hour stick foundation from MAC Cosmetics. This will work as a highlighting foundation, as a concealer, and as a regular foundation for the face. I've used shade NC18 and I'm starting with the light color mostly in the center of the face in a triangle shape, starting from the inner corner, which is the one we want to cover the most, because that's where we have the dark circles, the discoloration, and those purplish looking I would say spots or dark circles for the under eye area. Again, we can apply this with a brush or we can apply directly from the bullet. It doesn't really matter, especially if it's your stick. You can do that with the bullet directly. So we're gonna apply this under the eyes in a triangle shape as you see, and then we can move on to the forehead, a little bit on the nose and on the chin area. So I am going to sculpt the face in the way that's suited for your face shape basically, and apply the contour with the same stick foundation from MAC Cosmetics, which is going to be in shade NC60. But until then, I'm gonna leave you with the application of the highlighting foundation and concealer. Again, NC60 is one of the best shades for contouring and giving dimension to the face. I'm gonna apply that on the forehead, basically the sides of the forehead, and on the sides of the face. Now, when you're contouring the face, there are many ways of doing that, and every single time the contour should be adjusted to each one's face shape. As you see here, I have applied the contour starting from the hairline, basically the top of the ears, going towards the edge of the nose in a straight line, not a downward line, because what we want to do is create a lifting effect to the face and not one that's dragging down the face, which is what a line basically that connects the ear with the corner of your lip would do. And I know this is a very common way to contour the face, but again, there's no contouring technique that suits everyone. Contour should be always adjusted to everyone's face shape because we are all different. Same goes for the nose. Having two straight lines on the sides and basically on the bridge of the nose will help with contouring the face and giving dimension. After applying the contour in the same way on both sides of the face, which is again a straight line going towards the nose, and I'm applying this a little bit higher than the hollow of the cheek. Why? Because when we're going to blend this, it's going to go a little bit above and a little bit down. If we're going to apply it directly in the hollow, it's going to drag down the face, because remember, what blends extends. So always keep that in mind as a rule when you're applying your contour. And basically, even the concealer, a few dots in the inner corner blended outwards will do the trick just as well. You don't need to apply too much product. again, because this is a foundation and concealer in one, it works perfectly. But when we're talking about a cream concealer, it is completely different, or when we're using a liquid foundation. In today's video, we're going to focus mainly on the definition of the face and how best to shape this according to your features. A little trick is some contour under the lips and above, just to create a more plump effect to the lips. So how we're starting to blend all the products is basically with a damp beauty blender or a damp beauty sponge. I am blending the light shade on the face, starting with the under eye area and then going on to the cheeks, and only after the light color is very well blended into the skin and has fused with all the oils and the cream that was underneath, only then we can move on to the contour, because what you don't want to do is start with the contour and then you have on your sponge the dark color and you move on to the lightest shades. So always remember to start from the lightest color to the darkest. The same rule will apply for the eyeshadows as well. Now, when we reach the contour part, we have to blend this into the skin in tapping motions. So never swiping motions on the face when it comes to contour, because you will risk lifting the product and not have that very nice blended effect which looks beautiful and supernatural on the skin. So again, tapping motions when it comes to blending your contour, and always make sure that you do not go over the line. So just blend exactly where the product is, because this will extend. Of course, after finishing with all the blending, we are gonna go again over the edges, so not in the center of the color, just around the edges to fuse the light color with the dark color on the face, exactly as I am doing now. For the contour of the nose, I am obviously going to use a far smaller tool, which is a brush. So a duo fiber brush will do the trick perfectly when it comes to the nose area, and the same brush basically that we've used on the under eye area and we will continue using, because it's a more dense brush. It's like a kabuki brush that just blends beautiful the contour and the concealer. So as you see here, I'm going over the edges of every single color just to make sure that the colors are very well fused together. There are no harsh edges and everything looks as natural as possible. So as I mentioned before, on the nose I'm going to use a smaller duo fiber brush. This one is from MAC. When it comes to contouring your nose, always make sure to blend the darker color down the side of the bridge of the nose, so never upwards. The middle line, we want to leave it as light as possible. After blending the colors towards the eyebrows and on the sides of the nose with the duo fiber brush, I am going to tap over everything with the kabuki brush to make sure everything is perfectly blended. So it's very important we blend very well all the colors together and we don't leave any harsh edges between the contour and the highlight, so we have that seamless effect when it comes to the application. And as you can see, there's quite a difference from where we started to where we are. Everything looks very well blended together. Now we've moved on to the eyeshadow base, and this is a very important step before applying any eyeshadows onto the eyelid. Why? Because it's going to create a much more lasting effect. The colors will be much more true to the pan and nothing will crease throughout the day. After applying the eyeshadow base with a fluffy brush, a synthetic one, because for every liquid product we need to use synthetic brushes, and I've used the 217S from MAC, we can move on to setting the makeup on the face, and for that I'm using a fluffy brush and a mineral powder. This one is from Paese Cosmetics in shade number 1. The mineral powder is gonna help set the makeup, and also it's much more elastic than a translucent powder, and it's not so flat, so it will actually help your skin look much more natural throughout the day. Again, the application of the powder is very important to be done in tapping motion, so pressing the powder into the skin, never a swiping motion, as that will lift the existing foundation onto the skin. So again, never ever swiping motions, just tapping the powder onto the skin. Not too much, so very thin layers, because after the mineral powder I am gonna move on to the contour. For that I am using the light medium palette from MAC Cosmetics, and I'm gonna set the cream contour with a powder contour, again in very thin layers. So before applying anything, make sure you dust off the excess from the brush and only then apply that onto the skin. So use the contour powder only in the areas where we applied already the contour cream. After the contour is applied, I will go on the skin with a different type of powder, and this time is going to be the one from Hourglass, because this is a very satin powder and it's going to help the skin, or basically it's going to give a slight sheen to the skin, so it's not so flat and it has a little bit more life to it. Again, this sheen powder is actually a trick I have to make the skin look much more alive and give a little bit more dimension to the face. Like I said, a tiny touch. I'm using a duo fiber brush, but I make sure I dust off the excess, tap off the excess, because what you don't want to do is apply too much of the powder and have a cakey effect. Remember, all the time is just applying the makeup in very thin layers. Now the eyeshadow base is set, we can move on to the eyeshadows, and I've used 3 colors, nothing too complicated. There are the matte eyeshadows from Inglot Cosmetics, shade number 314, which is the more peachy color, shade 324 and 329. So we're gonna start with shade 314, which is the peachy color, and define the crease slightly above the crease line, going towards the eyebrow. So as you can see, I've used a fluffy brush, a natural hair brush this time, and I am just going around the crease line and slightly a little bit above, and the same thing I will be doing on the lower lash line. After that, with a flat brush, I will be applying the second color in the palette, which is shade 324, which is a soft neutral brown, a little bit more towards the warm tones. I'm using a flat brush because this is going to help pack the color onto the mobile eyelid in a very seamless way, and it's gonna cover everything. Now, what we want to do is, when we are applying the eyeshadow, you want to use patting motions, and once all the mobile eyelid is covered, then we are going to move on to the next step, which is a dark brown eye pencil. I have used today the dark brown pencil from Wycon Cosmetics, but again, any dark brown pencil will work, whether you choose to use Coffee from MAC Cosmetics or Teddy or any pencil from Inglot. I'm gonna run the pencil all around the upper lash line, concentrating it in the outer third, which we are then going to blend with a pencil brush. After we have blended the color and the dark color basically on the outer third, we can move on to the next step, which is defining even more the lashes on the upper lash line and in the waterline. Now, when we are applying the pencil in the waterline, we are going to apply it slightly under, because with a flat brush we are going to smudge the color. What this will do is it will open up the eye and it will create the illusion of a bigger eye. Remember, when you're applying any pencil in the waterline, you don't stop there. You will have to blend it a little bit down because this will make your eyes look bigger. Also, with the same brush I have used to blend the color on the lower lash line, I will blend the color on the upper lash line and take just a tiny bit from the pencil when I need so. After we've applied the pencil and we've blended everything very well, I am then going to move on to the dark shade in the palette, which is shade 329. I am going to set the pencil with this color on the upper lash line and on the lower lash line. Once this step is complete, then we're going to go back into shade 314 and we are going to blend everything very well on the lower lash line, holding the brush inclined, so not straight towards the eye, but inclined. Same thing we're gonna do on the upper lash line and around the pencil we've applied before we move on to mascara. And again, for mascara, you want to put the brush and the wand at the base of your lashes and wiggle it up as many times as you want. I normally prefer to apply 2 coats of mascara. Now you can see there's a very big difference between the eyes and how well defined they are with a dark brown pencil. I always choose a dark brown color rather than a black because I find it softer and much more complementary to everyone's look, rather than using black, which can be a little bit harsh at times. For the eyebrows, I have chosen a powder pencil from Paese Cosmetics. This is an important step to do when it comes to defining your eyebrows, and to choose a powder pencil will help create that powdery effect in the brows, nothing too harsh, and will have a much better look overall in today's makeup. Blush, as always, I'm using a more peachy color, something similar to the color we've applied on the eyelids, just a little bit above the apples of the cheeks. Never smile when you're applying the blush, because when we smile, we tend to have some creases on our face, and you don't want to have any type of color settling in those lines, which can happen if we are basically smiling when applying any product on our face. After blush, I have chosen to apply a touch of bronzer just to blend everything very well together. I've used the Fantastic from Marc Jacobs. This is in shade 104. And now I am moving on to lips. For the lips, I have chosen 2 lip pencils from NYX Cosmetics. One is in shade brown, which I'm going to use more outwards, so basically this is the first pencil we are using, and then I am going to fill everything in with the color Nude Beige from NYX Cosmetics as well. As a lipstick, I am going to use a combination from the lipstick palette from MAC Cosmetics, which is called 6 Necessary Nudes. This palette is really good to have in your makeup kit because you can intensify the shades. There are, like the name says, 6 necessary nudes, which are absolutely amazing. They suit every skin tone and you can customize them exactly on your needs, whether you choose them for daytime or nighttime. After the whole makeup is complete, I'm going over everything with a duo fiber brush that doesn't have anything on it, just to make sure everything is well blended together. I'm setting everything with a makeup fixer spray. And basically that is it. We've reached the end of today's tutorial. So for any questions you might have about the steps, the look or the makeup products, feel free to drop me a message.